Hello, I am GR Fayez. Welcome back if you've been watching some of these videos. If it's your first time, glad to have you here. So today we are going to be going over the Justice Tarot card. So grab your deck and we'll start looking at it. So as you can see, the Justice Tarot card in the Rider-Waite version has someone sitting on a throne. And we do have the scales of balance here, as well as the sword, and of course our sort of crown, if you will, to represent our authority. So this card can mean balance, which is a little bit hinted at the scales and with the sword. But typically I would say I'd have to see a few other balance cards for that to be the first definition that I would go to. This can also represent, if you will, a person who has integrity, who is really level-headed, and who really tries to see all perspectives. So if this represents someone, that's the type of personality that they will have. This card can also represent, as it indicates, legal matters. I don't mean we're all going to be sitting in court yelling at each other, but sometimes this can just mean making sure all of your paperwork is in order, anything that you might need, because honestly, most legal issues now, I feel like, boil down to something in paperwork not being handled properly. So often I say double check paperwork, make sure you have everything you need, make sure everything is signed and filed with the appropriate places. Justice can also indicate a karmic justice, if you will. Trying to be fair to one another, to be kind, and in this case, sort of reap what you sow. It's almost, this energy of attraction, if you will. You attract what you put out there, hopefully, and if you are nice, in theory, there is that sort of reward, that kindness will be shown in favor. If this were to sort of come up with a relationship question, I wouldn't necessarily say this is a relationship card, but what it would indicate to me in a relationship is a need for balance, a need for compromise, and to really see, what each of us is giving up or not, and trying to find a compromise that feels fair. Again, it's not the first card that's going to jump to my mind for relationship, but if that is a question, or if it is with a relationship card, I would say it's not negative, but just that they're in that sort of phase of balance and of finding what is important to one another. Now, upside down, this card might represent, if it's in that legal sort of aspect, that something isn't quite right, the paperwork is off, maybe you were hoping that something would work out well in a ruling, and it might not. It's not necessarily for the worst, it's just what it's looking like. Again, if this were to relate to a personality, it might be that the person really is trying, to encompass justice, but is maybe just a tad brash, or blunt in what they think, or how they say what they think is right or wrong. Again, it's a balance sort of situation. If this is literally about balancing, if you will, then this would say that we're not doing a very good job, that we're leaning too heavily one way or another. Okay? So again, if you find it difficult to do the reverse interpretations, don't worry about those for now. Just stick with the right side up interpretations. We're going to actually look at a few other decks and their justice cards. So here we have our three versions of justice. As we see in the Wizard's Tarot deck, there is a woman, again, with the balancing of the scales. Okay, we also have here an owl, sort of representing knowledge. And of course, some of our paperwork. Again, all hinting at, as far as relationships, compromise, as far as justice, think about paperwork as well, and just using knowledge to discern what is the best course. The Legend of Arthurian uses the Lady of the Lake as their justice card. So again, this sort of emphasizes, I guess in a sense, this sort of karmic justice, if you will. If someone is worthy in a sense, but again, using our knowledge and what we know to discern what is the best sort of path forward if this person coming to us is in fact ready to bear the items that we have. And so as you can see, one has the scales, which is present in the Rider-Waite, while the other has the swords, which again is also present in our Rider-Waite tarot deck. So again, these images often cut across these various decks. Thank you again for joining me as we go over the Justice card. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Again, take what works for you and leave the rest.